Frozen bank account. My shocking reaction to catching my GF with her ex. I'm 28, male, and thought my life was on track. I've got a good job, live in a decent apartment, and until recently, had a girlfriend, C, who I thought I'd marry someday. We've been together for nearly 3 years. It wasn't perfect, no relationship is, but I was all in. I trusted her, or at least I used to. But something had felt off for a few months. You ever get that gut feeling? The one that says something's wrong, but you've got no proof? Yeah, that's what I had. She started acting weird with her phone, always keeping it close and tilting the screen away when she texted. Suddenly, there were all these work trips and girls' weekends, but when I asked for details, she'd get defensive. I didn't push it at first. You try to be a good boyfriend, not one of those paranoid guys who constantly checks on his girl. I convinced myself I was overthinking things, but the feeling wouldn't go away. I figured if something was going on, it would show in our joint account. We opened it together when we started saving for a house. Then, one day, I noticed something, $3,000 gone in a single withdrawal. No heads up, no explanation. I tried to stay calm. I wasn't going to jump to conclusions. So I brought it up casually. Hey babe, what's with this $3K withdrawal? Did you buy something big? She didn't even look up from her phone. Oh yeah, I booked a girls' trip with M&T, she said like it was nothing. I stared at her, trying to keep my voice steady. A girls' trip? You didn't mention that. She rolled her eyes, clearly annoyed. I didn't think I needed to give you a play-by-play of my plans. That hit me like a slap. I wasn't asking her to report everything, but $3,000 was a big deal, especially since we were supposed to be saving for a house. That's a lot of money, see, and we're saving, remember? Now she looked at me like I was crazy. We'll make it back. Relax, it's not the end of the world. The way she brushed it off pissed me off, but I let it go. Maybe I was overreacting. Maybe she just needed a break, and I shouldn't make it a thing. But that night, I couldn't sleep. Something felt wrong, so I did something I'd never done before. I went through her phone. I wasn't proud of it, but sometimes, you just know. Sure enough, there was a whole thread of texts, emails, flight confirmations. She wasn't going on a girls' trip. She was going on vacation with her ex. My heart pounded as I stared at the screen. This wasn't just a few messages, this was planned. They'd been setting it up for weeks behind my back. My stomach churned. It wasn't even about the money anymore, it was the betrayal. I could have confronted her right then, but something in me snapped. I wanted her to feel the same panic I was feeling. So I waited. I acted like everything was fine, like I didn't know a thing. I even kissed her goodbye when she left for her trip the next morning, telling her to have fun. As soon as she walked out the door, I froze our joint bank account. I wasn't thinking about whether it was right. I was hurt and wanted her to feel it. Hours later, my phone rang. It was her. "What the hell did you do?" she screamed. I leaned back in my chair, hiding the satisfaction in my voice. "What do you mean? My card's getting declined everywhere. What did you do to the account?" "Oh, I froze it," I said calmly. Figured it was the least I could do after finding out your own vacation with your ex silence. Then came the, "It's not what you think." Cut the crap, see? I read everything, the emails, the texts. You lied. You've been planning this for weeks. She stammered, trying to come up with an excuse, but I wasn't interested. "Why?" I asked, my voice harder than I intended. "If you wanted to be with him, why didn't you just leave me?" "I didn't want to hurt you," she began, and I laughed a cold, bitter laugh. "So instead, you lied to me, stole our money, and went on vacation with your ex? That was your plan to not hurt me?" There was a pause, then her tone shifted. She dropped the guilt and went straight to defense. "Maybe if you weren't so obsessed with saving for that stupid house, I wouldn't have had to do this. You've been so focused on the future, you forgot about me." I couldn't believe it. She was trying to flip this on me, like it was my fault she was sneaking off with her ex. "You couldn't have just talked to me?" I asked. "Instead, you lied to my face." She sighed, exasperated. "You just don't get it. I needed space. I needed time to think." "With him?" "You needed space from me with your ex?" She snapped, "He's just a friend." You're blowing this out of proportion. I clenched my jaw. Right. Just a friend. That's why you lied about it, why you hid it. She didn't say anything, and I could feel her thinking, trying to twist it into something that made sense. But I was done. We're over, I said, finally breaking the silence. Wait, what? You're breaking up with me over this? You lied, used our money to go on a trip with your ex. What did you expect? You can't just leave me stranded here, she yelled, panic creeping into her voice. How am I supposed to get home? I felt nothing for her in that moment, no sympathy, no guilt, just cold reality. Not my problem, I said. You made your choice. I hung up before she could say anything else. The days that followed were a blur. I moved out of the apartment, got my name off the lease, and canceled all the bills I had in my name. I blocked her on everything: phone, social media, email. I wasn't giving her any more access to my life. I was done. A couple of weeks later, I found out she was telling people I'd abandoned her, that I'd left her without a penny. She was making herself the victim, like I'd just up and left for no reason. The first time I heard it from a mutual friend, I laughed. It was classic C. She always knew how to spin things to make herself look innocent. But I wasn't going to let her rewrite the story, so I told my side, the lies, the ex, the money. Some were shot, others not so much. They knew her, knew how manipulative she could be. Most people sided with me, but a few believed her sob story. Whatever. Let them. I wasn't wasting any more energy on her or her drama. In the end, it hurt, but not like I thought it would. It wasn't losing her that hurt the most, it was realizing that the person I thought I knew never really existed. She'd been wearing a mask the whole time, and I was too blind to see it. But here's the thing, people will show you who they are, eventually. You just have to pay attention. And when they do, you can either ignore it and hope they'll change, or you can do what I did, walk away. I haven't heard much about C since. Last I knew, she was couch surfing at a friend's place because she couldn't afford rent. Apparently, she tried to get the money back from the trip, but the flights and hotel were non-refundable. I guess that's what happens when you blow $3,000 on a lie. Part of me wonders if her ex even stuck around, or if she got left high and dry, just like she deserved. But honestly, I don't care anymore. What I learned from this whole mess is that you can't control what others do, you can only control how you respond. And when someone lies, cheats, or manipulates, you have to be willing to walk away, no matter how much it hurts. Staying only destroys you in the long run. Sure, I'm mad I lost years of my life to her, but I'm more mad at myself for ignoring the signs. The truth is, the writing was on the wall long before I found those texts. I just didn't want to see it. I kept telling myself she was better than that she wouldn't do something like this. But I was wrong. People don't change just because you want them to. And sometimes, the only way to move forward is to cut them off completely.